What's going on, family and friends of Instagram? This is Talented Tuesdays, airing every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on your Instagram live station. My name is Kai Speaks, your host, aka Mr. 215 to 305. And this is brought to you by the GoldenKey Foundation, developing leaders one step at a time. We have our guest right here, but before I introduce our lovely guest, I'm going to break down some ground rules, just like I always do. Keep the comment section crystal clear. No negativity. Keep the negativity out of here. You want to be able to spread positive vibes, have people ask questions without ridicule, comments, and concerns, anything like that. But let's keep the negativity out of here. Also, feel free to follow our YouTube channel at Kai Speaks TV, where you can follow past episodes of Talented Tuesdays, as well as poetry and more, and a whole lot of good conversation. Also, be sure to subscribe to our blog as well as at the GoldenKeyFoundation.org/Kai Speaks Biz, where you can find poetry, personal growth blogs, as well as business tips and everything like that. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest, Iboni, who's going to tell us a little bit about herself and how she got to where she is right now. So go ahead.
Hi, I'm Iboni. I'm born and raised in Miami, Florida. I actually DM'd a whole bunch of random poets, released one album, my poetry album, and he was one of the people that I DM'd. So that's how I got here to the show.
So that's an interesting story, because when I got the message, I was like, I checked it out because, of course, when people send me links like that, I always check it out because I'm interested in new talent. Of course, as you can see, we're doing Talented Tuesdays. So when she sent it to me, I check it out and this is pretty good, pretty dope. So I reached back out to her because I asked the line. I was like, I wonder if this person knows that I do Talented Tuesdays, because this random DM is it's almost like it was like a submission. So I'm like, okay, I wonder if they know I do Talented Tuesdays. So I asked, I replied, I was like, oh, this is a coincidence, I don't know if you know, but I host this show called Talented Tuesdays where I'm actually looking for, poets, dancers, singers, whatever, to get on the show if you're interested to be a guest, and then she told me how crazy it was because he literally sent this to a whole bunch of people and didn't expect anything to get out.
I did it out.
Yeah, that's funny when you said that. So I thought that was a pretty cool story as to how we actually met. But tell us a little bit about your background. So you're from Miami. What are your goals as far as poetry? If you have any other goals, what do you want to study in school? Anything like that. Just tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, I started poetry elementary, middle school, and I actually wanted to go into an English major when I was younger, way younger. And then I don't know, everybody told me there was no money in it. So then I did business when I finally got to college. And then it was terrible. I don't know how you were an accountant major.
I did not like accounting. That's why I do what I do now.
but yeah, and then I always wanted to sing. Music has always been my passion. But poetry has always been there. And then I was going through something and I didn't want to sing about it. I just wanted to write about it. And then that's how I got here.
That's how you found out you had a passion for poetry.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that you mentioned that a lot of people say it wasn't practical, so you made you switch your whole style of what you wanted to get into and everything like that, because I reflect on I believe it was my first episode where we were talking about how our talents inspire our youth, which was the whole purpose of Talented Tuesdays. And we were talking about how a lot of times our parents kind of deter us from doing things that we're really interested in, and to think more into things that are more practical, like being doctors, lawyers, accountants, things like this. And we end up wasting a lot of money because we go into these fields that we're not truly interested in, don't really have a passion in, just because we're good at something. There's a difference between being good at something and being passionate about something.
Exactly.
Being good at something, okay, it's a good skill to have. I'm good at math, so going to accounting school wasn't bad because, it's good to have the skill. But in terms of being passionate about it, you can't find yourself working every day doing something that you don't love.
True, I'm good at chewing gum and walking at the same time, but I'm not gonna
Right, but you don't want to be a professional walking, chewing gummer. So that's just I think it's funny that you said that, because we reflected on that a lot. And So you said you've been doing poetry for some time, and is there, what is the most recent, not style of poetry, but what is the most recent theme that you had behind one of your poems?
Heartbreak, definitely.
Heartbreak?
Yeah, but also like at the end of the poems, I try to like make there be a light at the end of the tunnel. Because I never want like anybody to just feel completely down from listening to my stuff, and I want people to feel, and I want them to feel like it's gonna be okay at the end of the poem.
That's important. So tell us more about like what is the process that you go through to make sure that you always be sure to empower people in your poems. Like, you know, you have the heartbreak. How do you tie the heartbreak to like the light at the end of the tunnel, like you said?
First, I put on like, you know, depressing music. You know, have the rain and the but I don't know. You really just have to feel what you're saying, and it's like I listen to like a lot of poems, and it's like sometimes they don't make me feel better at the end of it. It just feels like I may just get stuck in the motion. So it's just I think about, okay, well, I'm writing it, and then I get it all out, and then I think about, okay, well, what do I want to feel at the end of it? And that's kind of the process. Like I get it out, I write it, and then like I reassure myself at the end.
Okay, so it's more so like you basically think about how you want to feel, and it just so happens that it relates to a lot of other people as well.
Yes.
Okay. So I have another question for you. Were you at first were you shy with your poetry in terms of like sharing it with others and things like that?
Definitely. It's just like the saying. I get very shy and nervous about it. And then people be putting you on the spot. They're not scared. They're like, hey, sing a note,
right,
spit a stanza. And I'm like, I can't just do it. But
right.
Now I'm more open with it, you know, trying to be, well, clearly I'm here. Yeah.
So like what are some steps that you take, or what are some methods that you do to like ease your nerves and make you feel more calm about spitting your poetry and things like that?
Honestly, I know it's silly, but you just gotta tell yourself like, you the stuff. Like that's it. Like you it. And then like you have to say it and embody it. And that's what I kind of tell myself to like ease my nerves some.
You gotta have a certain swagger. You gotta tell yourself, look, you can do this.
Exactly.
You got the best pieces around. And you gotta, you know, just like that, you gotta have that swag, you know, just shrug your shoulders, cock your head a little sideways, and just say, you got this. Just like that, right?
I don't hit myself like that.
All right, okay.
But
that's just my thing.
Along those lines.
Okay. So, do you have like a favorite artist or a favorite poet that that really influences your work?
There's you know who Jasmine Mans is?
But tell me a little bit
She
about
has
it.
this poem, and it's called "You Gonna Get This Work." And like the first thing is like, I know I was just listening to it. I'm so mad right now. No, but she just has like, her voice is so powerful, and I don't know, you feel it. I really like her a lot.
Jasmine Mans.
Yes.
Okay.
Jasmine Mans.
M-A-N-S, M-A-N-Z.
M-A-N-S.
M-A-N-S. Okay.
Yes. She's very good, and I don't know the name, but when I first started watching like poetry on YouTube and stuff, I don't know her name, but I know her poem name. It's called That Girl, and it's from the special Brave New Voices, and she's amazing, like blows you away. That Girl.
Okay, so we're gonna take a break from my questions because we got some questions on here, which by the way, I appreciate y'all asking y'all questions. I am APG said, do you have a specific writing style when you're writing your poems? So like, do you prefer a specific style? Do you mean like like a preference of a style of poetry, or like
the way I flow, or just
like the way you flow? So just answer how you interpret it. So do you have a specific writing style when writing your poems?
Kinda. It's like I have like a rhythm in my head, and I just go along to the rhythm, I guess. And I tend to be very wordy, so that helps me when you go along to a rhythm in your head.
Yeah, I think for me it's about the same. Like I might I might watch a movie like Love Jones. Love Jones influence, like every time I watch Love Jones, it at least influences 2 or 3 new pieces of mine. And I always kind of use the same flow in which Lorenz Tate kind of spit his poems. So it's like, okay, I realize I'm usually influenced by sound, but like one day I could just be sitting at work and I'm thinking about something that was bothering me, whether it be a social issue or, you know, something that was hurting my heart a little bit, and then I'll just start putting words together, and then sometimes a combination of words even influence a certain flow that you just run with. So, you know, that's a good question, Ave. Also, Miss AKA 85, she asked, do you ever feel vulnerable when you share your poems? Do you ever feel vulnerable when you share poems that have been inspired by personal emotions?
Definitely. I didn't want to put them out at first. One of my friends is a rapper, Jay Sannon, and I did this thing called An Ode to Miss Lauren, and I let him listen to it because I'm very comfortable with him. He's one of my producers.
Just a little bit. It's an
ode to Miss Lauren.
Okay.
And I wrote it, and I let him listen to it, and then he asked me to write for his album, and then I started showing him like my other ones that I wrote when I was going through stuff, and he was like, this is really, really good. And he kind of helped me, like, because I told him I don't think I want to put it out, like, it's too deep, like, who wants to hear stuff like that? But then he really like helped me get past the vulnerability, because he was basically like, people like need to connect with you. That's what makes you an artist. And it's like, if I'm not vulnerable, then I'm just out here like saying stuff that doesn't mean anything to anybody. So
yeah, that might be the biggest. If you take anything out of that might be the heavy hitter. If you don't feel vulnerable, you're just saying anything, because like vulnerability lies within realness. So we got another question.
Say like vulnerability lies within realness?
Yeah.
I'm taking that.
So how do you reassure yourself after poems of heartache? And do you counter with another poem more uplifting and empowering? I think we kind of answered that. You say like you tie for all your poems that involve heartbreak. At the end, you make sure that you tie in the light at the end of the tunnel. So if you want to talk a little bit more about that for Miss AKA 85.
Well, one of my poems, it kind of doesn't end, but the next one that follows it is definitely a light at the end of the tunnel. So it's just like, it's not all of them, but if I, like for release one, I made sure everything like flowed kind of, so that they're definitely going to be reassured, but yeah.
Good answer. So this question is more so like geared towards the purpose of Talented Tuesdays. So what advice would you give to someone who is trying to start writing poems as a way to release inner feelings or experiences?
I think you just have to be completely honest with yourself. Like, if you're hurting, hurt. If you mad. Like, if you want to bust, don't go bust windows, but if you want to bust windows, like, embody that. I think it's very, very important to stay true to yourself and to know your truth. I think that's about it. Just you have to be real with it.
I would say that's good advice, and I would even add on to that, like some advice that you can even give to someone who's just starting as writing poetry. Carry like a little notebook with you, something that you could just jot down feelings and emotions and moments that you live that have some kind of effect on you. Like if you're stuck in traffic. No, it's the little things. So if you're stuck in traffic and you're real mad about being stuck in traffic, write about something that'll make you less mad about being stuck in traffic, or write about how it feels to be stuck in traffic. Just jot that down in your note. Obviously, you can't jot it down at that moment if you're stuck in traffic. But so I'm not encouraging to write. But it's the quickest way to just jot down thoughts, and it's another good way to just like when you write things down, it's gonna stick here too. So if you think about it, write it down, and then come back to it later. You can always revisit it. So that's some advice that I would add on to that as well.
That's true. And if you don't have a notebook, I'm like stuck to my phone. I use my notes in there religiously.
I also use my notes. That's good advice too. So you have phones. If you're old fashioned, get a little notebook. Whatever floats your boat. But just know you got a boat and it needs to float. I feel myself today.
You got a boat and it needs to float.
Yeah, just know that you got a boat and it needs to float. So, do you have any long-term goals? It doesn't have to be about poetry, but what are some of your long-term goals and what do you wish to accomplish for the next 5-10 years?
I told myself I'm performing at the Grammys. That's a wrap. That's it. So that's definitely one of my long-term goals. A more personal long-term goal, just help my family out more when I do get into when I do start making money to support everybody, I definitely want to take care of my family. I definitely want to go abroad and do mission trips. Like after I have my kids, I want to do like a lot of mission trips.
So like mission trips, what do you mean by mission trips?
Like when you go to like third world countries and stuff and you help build houses or you help feed the hungry or you just help do stuff.
Okay.
I'm Haitian inclusion, so I definitely want to go to Haiti and help a lot. I'll probably do that sooner than after I have kids. But that is one of my long-term goals.
Okay, so have you seen Drake's video God Plan?
I did not.
You didn't?
No.
Oh my God. Because everything that you were just talking about.
It's been on my YouTube and I put it to watch later, but I haven't got to later. So.
If you watch that video, you will shed a tear.
That's crazy because something told me just watch it like earlier today and I ignored it. I ignored the feelings.
So that whole video is literally like everything that you just said about, at some point in time you want to be able to give back, and find your purpose. Like Drake really after I seen this video, Drake is now on my number one spot for the only artist that really is relevant to me right now, because he's not only talking the talk, but he walking the walk in terms of what it really means to be an entertainer and what it really means to have a platform. Like the platform that he has, he literally sponsor people to go grocery shopping, to buying students cars, to giving out scholarships.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
There's a whole lot of stuff that when I looked at this video, I automatically saw myself as Drake, but doing even a greater deed than that. So if you watch that, it's going to give you so much motivation to really make that goal happen.
Watch it.
Definitely check it out. So this is like an icebreaker question. So I ask this every episode, and it has to do with the red pill or the blue pill. So if you have the red pill, which would you rather take? The red pill, you go back 10 years and you know everything that you know now. And then the blue pill, you go forward 10 years, but you have $5 million automatically, liquid, cash.
Okay, so for the red pill, you said we go back in time.
You go back 10 years, but you know everything that you know now.
But I have to do everything the same, right?
Not necessarily. You just take it as a grain of salt. So just take it as you go back 10 years and everything that you knew prior to going back. So everything that you know at this moment right now, you still have that knowledge and you still have that skill, but you get to go back 10 years. And then you can forward 10 years, but you have $5 million in cash, liquid.
I mean, to go forward, it's just I want to live though. I don't want to just get there all of a sudden and be like, what happened? Mm-hmm. But then for the backwards thing, personally, I would have to do everything the same because I feel like everything gives me growth and makes me more into who I am and who I'm gonna be in the future. I don't want to feel stuff twice though.
So do you feel so you're a firm believer the butterfly effect? Whatever happens in the past affects the future and everything like that.
Yeah, but I don't want to just be placed in the future. So I think the red pill's the past, right? Mm-hmm. I think the red pill.
Yeah, and that's the consensus. A lot of people say the red pill.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people have different reasons why they choose the red pill. Some people say that they choose the red pill because if they know everything that they know now, they can easily make $5 million or more with the knowledge that they have, whether it be to bet on the Super Bowl, whether it be to use your knowledge.
I wasn't even thinking of that.
Yeah, so just be creative.
I'll bet on a few Super Bowls then.
You said I bet on a few. I'm betting on the 2018 Super Bowl. That's the only one that I really remember.
Nah, just Google everything right before you.
Right before you take a pill, just Google everything. Last 10 Super Bowls. Okay, so we have a few more questions that I missed. So, what steps do you take to enhance your writing? So, to become a better writer.
To become a better, after I write, I recite it, and if it doesn't sound like how it was when I was writing it, then I go back and I'm like, nah, this isn't good. And then I know cause me, I had a really hard time being vulnerable, like I mentioned before. But it really does help if you have someone listening to you. They can give you and it don't gotta be any regular person on the street, obviously, but somebody whose opinion that you take serious, who can actually help you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this revision is key.
Revision is definitely key. And another thing that we got a little visitor. Zora, she did not ask for you to be on the show with her. So
I tapped my knee. I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
But I was trying not to itch.
So I think another revision is key, and also what is also key that we kind of lost track of is read books. We got to continuously grow our minds, and to do that you have to read. And by reading, you're revisiting, and you're seeing new words. You're seeing new words. You're understanding the meanings of new words that you never saw before, and then these are words that you can include in your pieces and everything like that. So read books is definitely a good one. Also, to enhance your writing, go out of your comfort zone as well. Try different types of languages, and when I mean languages, don't be afraid to use slang. I was always taught that since 8th grade. Shout out to Mr. Crane at First Philly. He always told us, you're allowed to use slang. Poetry is creative expression. It's how you express yourself. So
I've never had a poetry, an English teacher or anything tell me that.
Really? I think it's very important to and also depending on the poet. Most poets are professional. When they go speaking at different, they know the venue and the vibe of which they're speaking at. But I know poets like to use cursing in their poems too, because it's creative expression. They're expressing themselves. So I also don't feel as though we need to what is the word I'm looking for? Not bleep out, but censor people's expressions. Granted, that poet is responsible enough to know if they're speaking at a school, they're not going to recite their poem that involves all this hate and all this, whatever it may be. They're going to pick the poem that they find is appropriate for the audience. So that's one thing, and using slang is another way of enhancing your poetry as well, because that's how you relate to a lot of other people. So that's another thing. But you never heard that? No English teacher ever encouraged you to?
No.
See, that's the thing. I learned, no, not even that. Shout out to John the poet, Just John. He said, this was last week, I believe. No, 2 weeks ago. He had a bar, one of his poems. He said, I learned how to articulate myself more in art than English has ever taught me English. My bad, John, for butchering that bar, but that's the message. You say he learned more from art and how to articulate himself than English taught him how to actually speak English and learn English and everything like that. So that's just one thing. Got another questions. Well, we had tons of questions, just losing track of them all. Have you memorized all of your poems?
When I was first recording them, I wanted to get them perfect and they were memorized. But then before I was supposed to come here, he told me that we can do pieces. So when you were first telling me about it, and then I was I gotta make sure I have it. And surprisingly, I guess because I said it so much, and honestly, I'm not trying to be conceited, but I listened to it a lot after it dropped. I was so proud. So I guess that kind of helped me memorize it. And then I don't know, when you really feel it and it's your stuff, you're this is me, I know this.
Right. So kind of,
yeah.
It's a good feeling. It makes you want to because I do the same thing. When I drop something new and I can hear it in my ears, I'll have it on repeat. So that's another way of how I remember my poems. I'll record it on voice memos, put in my earphones, driving around work, and then I'll just listen to it on repeat in my ear, and that's how I memorize it. But
okay, I'm gonna be reciting 2 poems. I'm actually a little bit nervous now, but we good. We good. That's it. So the first one is called The Old You, and the second one will be called Shine. The Old You. When did you decide that I wasn't enough for you? When did you decide to stop trying, to stop being all that you were in the beginning? I refuse to believe that this happened out of nowhere or overnight. You did this with precision, your approach strategic. Breaking my heart had to be an orchestrated plan. You must have spent days, maybe even weeks, drawing out how you slowly starved my heart and leave me to die. But I didn't die. Or did I? You looked me in the eyes before you delivered the last blow, and I saw you. The you from the beginning. The you that played me music and acted silly. The you that got a little protective and cared about my safety. How ironic that you're now the threat. The you that thought I was beautiful and funny and reminded me every chance he'd get. The you who didn't lie. Instead, we lie awake and talk about our futures and the children my body would break for, but it wouldn't matter because they'd be yours. The you that made me believe that love in the movies exists. Not that corny misrepresentation of love either. I'm talking about that go through the storm side by side just to see sunny clouds and blue skies together type love. That no matter what, we find our way back to and ride even harder for each other type of love. That Monica and Quincy, Noah and Allie, Lance and Mia, Jason and Lyric, just to name a few type love. Spoiler, she didn't die at the end. Or did she? Shine. I've come to terms that you weren't ready. You just didn't have the capability. Still, knowing this, I truly believe that I was meant to know you and you me. But, I'm not gonna lie, you stood too close to the sun. Eyes glossing over with a hand to shield your face from my rays. You were never going to be ready to accept the love that I gave. And yes, I am referring to myself as the sun. Yes, I think of myself that highly now. That warm, that radiant, that welcoming, that nurturing, that loving, that powerful, that bright. Don't you think I should after all that was said and done? After 2 years of neglect and torturing myself loving you more, putting myself on the back burner just so I can have the space, the capacity to open myself up to you more. Use me some more, lie to me some more, hurt me some more. You think it's easy to come back from that? To get back to loving myself even halfway was a struggle that sometimes still burdens me. I was trotting my feet through endless sands, carrying weights of your dishonesty, your disloyalty, your hurtful, sometimes even hateful words, your fake love, your insecurities. Because you couldn't just let them be. You had to project them onto me. There were times when it was too much and I fell to my knees, thoughts surrounding me so shameful I'd cry. In these moments I thought I'd stay broken forever, but you ain't break me. You can't break the sun. She sets every night just to rise even brighter for the day, and even when she sets, she's not truly gone. She's resting, rebuilding her warmth, her light even more. She's waiting to be reborn. And she knows, oh do I know, that not all will be able to stand in her love, to feel her love or accept all the love that she gives, but she gives anyway. She loves anyway. She continues to shine anyway. It's in her nature after all.